Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I am so excited to be chatting about all things math. I have the Charlotte Mason Elementary Arithmetic series. I have books both 2 and 3, so we're going to be opening these up, as well as the Ray's New Intellectual Arithmetic, which is this one right here, and then I also have the Primary Arithmetic. So today I'm going to be giving you a look at both books, kind of how we use them together, as well as the extra things that we've just added into our homeschool, specifically to go along with this curriculum and how we do math in our home right now. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys about this. And then at the end of the video, I also have some other thoughts when it comes to homeschooling math. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I am going to go ahead and grab the camera, turn it around, and get into the flip-throughs. So I thought I would go ahead and start out with book number 2 from the Charlotte Mason Elementary Arithmetic series. We're going to open this up. What I got to go along with book 2, I also got the 3/4 inch graph paper. This is what we've been using in our home, as well as another math book that I'll show you here in a minute. But I have this, and then I also have for book 2, I have the number sentence cards, which I have shared on my channel before. So I'll open these up in just a minute to show you how we use everything on a daily basis. But these are the 3 actual Charlotte Mason things that I got to go along with this thing. I did not end up getting the math box. You can purchase an entire math box that goes along with this curriculum that has more manipulatives like your play money and things like that. But I just did not get it because for me, in all transparency, I love the Charlotte Mason method. However, I am not strictly Charlotte Mason, so I use other things as well. I'm very eclectic, so I didn't feel the need to get everything because I'm not using this book exactly to the T, how maybe the curriculum might have you do it. It's just we're kind of doing it in our own way, which is kind of what we're going to be talking about today. Anyway, I'm going to take these 2 out and open this up so we can get into really what's inside the book 2 here. Just like every book, you're going to start out with a table of contents, you have your introduction, and then you go into the arithmetic concepts in book 2. I love this. If you want to do, and I've shared this before on my channel, but if you want to do more on schooling or a non-textbook type thing, you can take this concepts and you can take everything on this list and kind of do it your own way. So for example, for in 2nd grade, you would want the idea and the operation of addition to be down, subtraction to be down. You'd want your student to know addition and subtraction tables up to 20, so 10 plus 10, addition and subtraction with money, addition and subtraction in interesting story problems, pure numbers, sets of figures, and things like that. And then down here, by the time you get to the end of the book, multiplication and division with money, numeration and notation of numbers up to 1,000. So again, if you wanted to, you could just look at these concepts and do things kind of however you want it. That's the beauty of homeschooling. You're going to have a quick overview of the lessons, and I do love how it says like when to advance, and it does give you advice and tips on kind of meeting your child exactly where they are at. So pacing, like the length of the lesson, and then you're also going to have a chart where it has suggested weeks, where it's going to give you kind of like the ideal lessons that you would cover in a certain amount of weeks. So you have a review of the previous year's work, or it's going to be weeks 1 through 3, addition and subtraction tables, weeks 4 through 11, and the term exam, week 12, etc. Then you go down to term 2, addition with larger numbers, subtraction with larger numbers, and the term exam, and then of course term 3. And I do also love that they say this is just a suggestion. It does not mean you have to follow it. Again, you're meeting your child right where they are. So personal supplies, they do suggest getting a personal chalkboard or a dry erase board. I believe this comes in their math kit, but if you don't want it, you don't necessarily need to have it. I know most homeschool mamas probably have some sort of like a dry erase or a chalkboard or something. A variety of everyday objects, so beans, pennies, simple counters, things like that. Objects bundled in 10s from the previous year's work. I love using popsicle sticks for this activity. You bundle 10 popsicle sticks in groups, and then it's really fun for the kids to count those out, but also use them as a visual for like groups of 10 and things like that. You're going to do a lot of money counting. So in book 2, a large majority, and honestly even at the beginning of book 3, is very money focused. So learning how to count money is going to be huge, but at the end of these books, they're going to be masters at counting out money, exchanging money, and I think that's a very valuable skill. Even though we live in a society where I feel like it's not used much now, I think I'm still old-fashioned, I guess, and I think it's very valuable. So anyway, the optional things, I do not have the parent reference book because again, I'm not doing everything to the T like Charlotte Mason probably would recommend doing it. I'm just doing it our own way. So I did not purchase the training for the teacher. However, if you are new to homeschooling, and especially if you're brand new to Charlotte Mason, I would actually recommend you picking that up because it's going to give you a step-by-step guide, a video course of exactly how to teach it, like the methods behind it. And so if you are new, definitely recommend it. But if you're just kind of like I am and a little bit more eclectic and you love the concept and idea, but you're not following Charlotte Mason to a T, then, you know, I would maybe skip it, but I think everyone is personal preference on that one. So you go from your review from book 1, the symbol for idea. So your very, very simple first little set here. So have your child point out 3 of something in the room, 3 apples, 3 books, 3 cups, and 3 pencils. This is so simple and basic. So you're going to be flying through it, especially once you get to 2nd grade. But also, I will mention that if you are like us and you're coming from a strictly CLE-based math program, so I brought this out to give you a reference. If you're coming from a straight CLE background, or even a math workbook background in general, where everything is laid out on the page, it might be different for your child to think of math concepts off of the paper. So I will say that this is a very wonderful thing. Even though it's simple, it's going to get your child used to thinking of math concepts outside of just the math workbook. So it does start out simple, but again, I do think that's a huge pro for it. And we don't really take a huge summer break, but if you did take a summer break and are more traditional in that, then when you do jump back in, it's going to be a very smooth and seamless transition. And I also love that as well. So as I mentioned, you're going to have simple sums with money that's going to be starting out, and it's honestly a lot of it. You're going to go into exchanging coins. Again, this is all review. You're going to have numeration and notation using coins. And so the first part of the review here is just counting out money. So I would say definitely before you start book 2, make sure your child can count out to some extent and like add and subtract money and different things like that. All right, so then we move on to the addition and subtraction table for 1. This is the thing that I love, and it's perfect for visual learners. However, I'm also going to be honest and say this is the part that I don't do unless we actually need it. So if you do have a more visual learner, I would definitely say lay out the tables. But what you do is you're going to have a table. So you're going to lay 10 pennies out on the left side, and you're going to go 1 through 10 and lay 10 pennies out on this side, going like, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So then they can say 1 plus 2 is 3, 1 plus 3 is 4, 1 plus, and then you're memorizing the whole table. So they can go 1 plus 2 is 3, 1 plus 3 is 4, 1 plus 4 is 5. So they're memorizing the tables. So this is the table for 1. So you have 1 on each side, and that's what that is. We're going to go ahead and jump through here just so you guys get an idea of what else is in it. Otherwise, this video would be way too long. You're going to get into story problems, of course, later on. And again, all of this is mostly verbal and oral, and I'm going to tell you how we use it as well when it comes to writing the numbers down, using slate boards and things like that. You go into this table for 3. This is what I was saying about that table. Now you're memorizing the 3. So you have 3 pennies of 10 rows of 3 pennies on this side, and then 1 through 10 on this side. So you're going to go 3 plus 1 is 4. So you memorize that table. And then all of the story problems that you read, you're going to ask the student 3 beads plus 2 beads equals, how many beads. That's how this book 2 kind of starts out. It is simple, but I also found that when you're doing it orally, if you are like our students have been used to just a strict workbook, I am so glad it does start out simple. So what I have my 2nd grader do, and she loves doing it this way, is she takes her math notebook. I have this math book that I had already purchased at a homeschooling convention. Then I came across these, which is just right up my kiddos' alley because they were, of course, nature themed. So I ended up picking up this. However, we are going to complete these before we dive into those. Even though my little ones would rather probably just use those. What I have my 2nd grader do is I will tell her like what's 3 beads plus 2 beads. She will come over here, and this is not from that lesson, but she'll go 2 plus 5 equals 7. So she follows along with what I'm saying. So if you have someone that just like wants to write out the numbers, enjoys writing them out, but also wants to do them verbally if we really want to, this is a great thing to have on hand, to where if you are, let's say, if we're on a trip, because we've been traveling a lot this summer, I will take this with us and we'll just go through the questions and we'll be done with our math in 5-10 minutes. If you want them to practice writing out numbers and seeing the papers or seeing the numbers on paper, highly recommend getting a graph notebook. You don't even have to buy one. You can design a graph paper on Canva if you want even. But it really makes this come to life, I think, on paper for her, and it does help her be engaged with the numbers, if that makes sense. So anyway, This is addition and subtraction table for 3. I'm going to jump actually halfway through the book here to give you an idea of what we're going to be doing. So of course we have a lot of the more bigger numbers, so 9 deer from 14. This is the other thing too I wanted to say when they're mixing up numbers. Instead of saying like 10 take away 9, they said what's 9 from 10? Instead of what is 14 take away 9, they say what is 9 from 14. So she's actually had to get used to a little bit of that different wording, but she's done really well with it so far, and I really do enjoy it. So we're going to flip ahead here, review addition in smaller numbers. We're going to go through a big review here in the middle of the book where you're starting to, and like in your mental math, you're starting to add 3 numbers together in your head at this point. Then we're going to go over here and see what this one is. And you're starting to, of course, you're skip counting, you're learning your multiplication tables at this point. Work with larger multiplication by 3, multiplication by tens, hundreds, and thousands. So ask how many pennies in a dime? 10. I do also love how they have prompts here for the teacher. It makes it really easy. And at this point, you're also able to do some double digits. So you have the 33 plus 5. What my little people will do is they will do these bigger numbers. They'll use the math notebook for this as well. At least my 3rd grader will. We'll get into his book in here in a second. But he'll use this, but he also really enjoys using just a chalkboard. He used this in his last lesson for money, with him writing out different money. So I have that as well. And so let me skip ahead here a little bit. What we're going to be doing at the end. So addition and subtraction with 7 in the previous tables. A lot of this is review. So addition and subtraction with 10 previous tables. And yeah, so by the end, you're going to be adding all mixed numbers. So 3 plus 2 plus 1, take away 5 plus 4, all of those, like different so you're combining the addition and subtraction with 3 or more figures, which I think is also a wonderful thing. And then you have multiplication and division with 6 and then the previous table. So I love it. How many tires on 9 cars? If there's, of course, 4 tires on a car. So I love it. It's very simple. The other thing that I do have to go along with this is, as I mentioned before, I have the number sentence cards. These are for book 2. And I've shared these on my channel. I don't know if I shared with you exactly how I use them, but I wanted to share with you exactly how I use them. But these are for me as a mama to have on hand. So when I am walking away, needing to take care of the baby, change a diaper, etc., I will pull one of these out, and then I will pull out one of these little chalkboards, and I will have my student just fill out the whole thing. So they'll do 5 plus 5 is 10, 3 plus 9, and then just go down the list. But this keeps them engaged and still learning while I'm walking away for a minute. And our typical math lessons really don't go beyond 15 minutes. So I found that that's plenty of time for them to get it done without needing to get up and take like a little wiggle break. I have found that 20 minutes is really their limit on when they need to get up and get a break and things like that. So that's a peek and a look at my 2nd grade's math book. I'm gonna go ahead and get out the 3rd book. 1 second here. Hi guys. So this is book 3 that I have for my 3rd grader. And then for him, I just have the 1/2-inch graph paper. So we've already been using this a little bit. So I have that and I have this. And then I also, hi baby. And then I also do have those number sentence cards as well. Do you want to play with this? No. What do you want to play with? Are you going to put the counters up there? You're going to get them out and count? Are you going to count? Yeah, we're going to count, aren't we? I'm gonna scoot that over really quick. Okay, so we're gonna see if we can do this with half of a little table here. All right, for book 3, my little guy has been loving this as well. He calls it his fun math. So we've just been having a ton of fun. Same thing in the last one, arithmetic concepts only in book 3. You're gonna go through a lot of review. Yeah. You're going to have addition and subtraction with money. Again, as I mentioned in the beginning of the flip throughs, it's very money heavy as far as the things that you'll be learning right away. So make sure before you dive into books 2 and 3 that your kids are at least familiar with coins and counting them out and stuff. Otherwise, I think it will hold you up a little bit if they haven't started. Since here you go. Since a lot of the number problems and number sentences in the book have to do with money. So highly recommend being fluent in that before diving into these. You're starting with the review work, so addition and subtraction with money, all the way down to your weights and measurements, up to 10,000, numeration of fractions. So you're going to start with fractions at the end of this book. Again, you're going through the overview of lessons. Hi, honey. You go through the pacing where the suggested weeks, where of course the first 3 weeks is going to be review, kind of like book 2. Then we have review from book 2. We went through this entire probably 2 or 3 pages on day 1 because it's just reviewing addition and subtraction with smaller numbers. Sorry if it's loud, there's an airplane flying overhead. You're going to review small sums with and without exchanging. So we're going to have Bailey had 13 cents and spent 3. How much does she have left? Again, very simple, a great review for jumping into 3rd grade. Numeration and notation of money, review exchanging dimes and dollars. And this is a part where we would jump into our graph notebook or a chalkboard because you have your dollars and you need to be able to line them up. He will get out his chalkboard as I showed you earlier, or he will use his graph notebook for these. So he'll write them out. I'll say, okay, what's $3.56 plus $3.25? So he'll line those up according to the decimal point and then do that. And then just so you know, as a teacher, if you don't want to have a separate teacher guide, they include all the answers in this for you. So you don't need to buy a separate teacher guide. All of the answers are right there for you, which is great because once he does this, I can easily, at a quick glance and 2-second glance, see what that is. You have review exchanging dimes and dollars, reviewing numeration, larger sums, addition with larger sums, addition using $10 bills without carrying. Jumping ahead quite a bit here, we have review subtraction of pure numbers with notation. So we're going to have the 3-digit subtraction that he's going to be able to do. Jump ahead a little more, multiplication table for 10. He is actually pretty fluent on the 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and 12s, but it's the 6 through 9, well, and of course 10s, but we have 6, 7, 8, and 9 times tables that he struggles with. So those are what we're working on now. And honestly, we just have a lot of bigger numbers overall. So I know this was not a thorough look at what is in book 3, but it does give you an idea of what it does entail. It does advance fairly quickly, but also at a very gentle pace where you're not going to be given a ton of problems. For example, like this one here, you're going to have maybe 5 problems for that day, and then you can call it a day if you want, which is great. So as far as how I use Ray's new primary arithmetic and how I use the intellectual arithmetic, this would be for 2nd grade. This is for my 3rd grader. If I have found that we need to put Charlotte Mason, the book, away a little bit because maybe we're struggling with money counting, maybe we're struggling with a different concept, that is typically when I will pull this out. And if you are wanting a day where you are just wanting an oral lesson, like if you're busy in the kitchen, if you're traveling like we've been traveling for a while, you can pull this out and get a sound, thorough math education just by reading all the questions. So for my daughter, say this lesson here, how many are 8 and 1? How many are 7 and 2? How many are 6 and 3? Very, very simple and basic, but this is 100% oral and mental math, and it's so incredibly important to have that mental math, which was a huge reason why I loved Ray's in particular, because it's 100%, just really 100% oral. You're going to go through all of them. And now you still can use the graph book by writing all the numbers and filling it out, but this is just something that I've loved using as we've been traveling a lot this summer. I take this and I've just found that their math skills are easy to sharpen. Hello. And then they love it. They just love it, and I do too. So this is the Ray's new primary. It kind of follows along the Charlotte Mason type theme of things. I have noticed it doesn't have a lot of money in it. Like Charlotte Mason is very centered around money in the 2nd and 3rd book, where this is not. It's just basic addition, basic subtraction, then you have multiplication. If you want something, for one, this is more affordable too. So if you want something that is more affordable, you can still accomplish everything you need to from this. You can accomplish everything that you need in this as well. Only this is going to be just your straight, you are going to be such masters at addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division by using these books, but that's it. Like those are the things that you're mastering. I think back in the day, that's really the main core thing, and that's all they really need to do. Because honestly, if you don't have addition, yes, if you don't have the basic things down, of course, you won't be able to move on to the, you know, the harder things like multiplication and division. And then the intellectual arithmetic, which is what my little guy is doing, the exact same thing. You can have multiplication story problems. This is just a great thing to have on hand for if you are in a busy season of life and say you need to get the laundry folded and dinner on the table. This is a great thing to where you can just read a question for the kiddos and they're getting a solid, wonderful math education by doing it this way. And then in the intellectual arithmetic, this is when you're going to get into fractions, and oh my goodness, is just incredible. So once you get near the end, you're gonna go, how often is 1.5 contained in 3/4, and 4/5, and in 2 3/4? That to me is so advanced for this age. I really do love it, but that's how I use these with the Charlotte Mason. This is a supplement. If you just want to have a straight up practice of, again, your multiplication, subtraction, division, just the basic numbers, then I would choose this, because this is going to eliminate 100% of anything extra other than just mastering all of the really important math skills. So they're both beautiful together. Again, I do go back and forth, which is why we're probably going to take a while to finish this, because I do supplement with this depending on what the day holds. So if you are a busy mama too, and you do want something that is straight up just getting your kids to master the different math facts, 100% recommend Raise. It's phenomenal. We've really been loving it. And I know since it's been around forever, it is just so good. I love it so much. I'm going to turn the camera back around, and I'm going to give you one more final thought I have about just homeschooling math in general. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing a look inside Raise and the Charlotte Mason math. I honestly love them both. They've just brought a lot of value, and I think just flexibility and freedom and just so much peace, I think is the right word, to our home. So I absolutely love these. Cannot recommend them highly enough. I brought CLE out with me, and you might be wondering, like, why in the world did I bring the CLE math? For one, I still love this curriculum. One of my top picks for if you want a workbook based curriculum that is sound and thorough and is going to give your kids such a solid foundation in math. 100% still recommend CLE for that just straight up workbook, open and go. I love it so much. The reason why I'm sharing this again is because I want to encourage you that if you want to do a Charlotte Mason type math, and not even Charlotte Mason, more Raise and less workbooky, but more oral, verbal, like interaction type math, I want to encourage you to use something like this if you already have it on hand. And you can still do this with this by opening it up. For example, this is the 2nd grade. Of course, you have all the clockwork, which is amazing and wonderful. But you can go to a page like this. Let me put that down for a minute. And you can read these orally out to your kiddos. And then once they read these, you can just mark it as done and move on. Even on a page like this, write the numbers that come before and after. You can tell your student the number 13. So think of the number 13 in your head. So the 13, tell me the numbers that come before and after. So you can take your curriculum that you already have on hand and turn it into something that gives them more oral exercise. Mark it as done and you're good. They don't need to write it in the book. They don't need to sit there for 25 minutes to complete a math lesson. You as a mama can be cooking dinner and just asking them the different questions. And I love that concept. My mom was actually the one that said, you can take any book that you have. It doesn't matter if it's language arts or your books, your storybooks on the shelf, or your math that you have on your bookshelf, and make it into a more Charlotte Mason thing. So use what you have, tweak it, make it work for you and your family. Anyway, I wanted to share that in case you already have curriculum on your shelf and you don't want to buy anything else, or maybe your budget isn't going to allow it. You can take that Raise Arithmetic and Charlotte Mason method and use it with something like this as well. So I wanted to share that. Again, if you don't have the budget to go out and buy a whole new curriculum, you can make whatever you have work for your family. This is the other thing too. If you do a Raise Arithmetic or Charlotte Mason method type thing with your math, and if you want to do a workbook, this is another great pro of doing that method only using this orally, is if you do have a super busy season, if mama is sick, if you are welcoming a new baby, anything like life's challenges, they've already kind of followed the book, so it won't be any shock to open the page and say, hey, can you just do this for a minute because mommy needs to go take a nap, or mommy needs to tend to the baby. They've already followed along with the book, so it's just a great way to do that, and I love that concept of that. So I wanted to share that with you guys, again, in case you wanted to change things up in your home. Well guys, thank you so much for being here and for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna go ahead and head back inside after I clean up the mess here. I'll have to show you what it looks like right now since my toddler joined me, but thank you again, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys. So this is what the outside looks like right now. Gotta get it all cleaned up.